All right, in today's video, we are going to talk about how to form letter C. Now, this is another one of the letters that we've been forming in these videos step by step. We are going over tips and tricks to form uppercase letters. We will be covering lowercase letters as well, but you know that uppercase C and lowercase c are exactly the same. So this video is going to be helpful for both uppercase letter C and lowercase letter c. These videos, as you might know, are tips and tricks for parents, teachers, therapists, anyone working with kids on forming letters. We are going to be working on line awareness, spatial awareness, and the motor plan needed for these letters. And when you're teaching kids or anyone really to form letters accurately and fluently, these tips are going to incorporate the underlying skills that occupational therapists work on to support functional and legible handwriting. So let's get started. Okay, first of all, I forgot my eraser, so I'm going to use just a craft pom-pom. So I don't have a paper towel or anything like that. This tip is actually a great one for fine motor skills because you can use a craft pom-pom. They're very inexpensive. You can get a whole packet of them. And when you have kids erase with them, they really work on that fine motor skill and hand strengthening. So it's really actually a great warm-up for handwriting. Just grab a craft pom-pom and erase away, okay? It kind of leaves a little bit of the marker bits here, but it's okay, really. It's the benefits far outweigh that little inconvenience. Okay, so when it comes to forming letter C, it's really important to master this letter because it is a foundational skill needed for other letters. Think about the letters of the alphabet. C can turn into an O. It can turn into an A when you're looking at lowercase letters. It can turn into a D. So these lowercase letters, there's other ones as well, G, Q. These lowercase letters are down the road. Before we get to that, we need to work on just that C, and that uppercase C and lowercase c being the same. This is a very basic foundational skill. So that's why it's really important to start with this letter. And then you can focus on some of the other letters that we have in our series that build off of that curved formation, okay? So let me again erase with my handy dandy craft pom-pom. Okay, let's talk about the motor plan for forming letter C. I'm going to quickly draw some not exactly straight, and there we go. They work. The lines are formed. They're not exactly perfect, but that's okay. When you're forming the motor plan for letter C, this is a really important one to focus on accuracy. So letter C, depending on if you're a right-handed writer or a left-handed writer, you might be reaching over to the other side. For example, uppercase letters that start in the corner starters like L or D or B, this letter scooches over just a little bit. Let's say that this is our starting corner. Taking a tip out of Handwriting Without Tears, Learning Without Tears programs. The corner starter letters are some of the beginning letters that you start with, like that L or D. C, on the other hand, starts in the middle or slightly off-centered, just a bit. So when you're forming the letter C, you want to make sure that that starting point is very obvious for students. This is where you're going to start, curve around, and then curve to the bottom. So for our right-handed writers, they are forming that letter, pushing, you can see my markers, pushing away from the hand and then pulling into the palm of the hand. When we push and pull, This is a bit different than pulling into the hand. It's easier and more functional. Your hand is just naturally pulling into the hand when you're pulling your marker in. So when you're pushing away, that takes a little more control and it takes a little more skill. You're pushing your fingers out. So for the right-handed writer, it can be really helpful to work on the motor plan of circles forming in a counterclockwise pattern. That's really going to work on that push, pull of your hand, your pencil, pushing the pencil and then pulling it in. On the other hand, literally, if you are left-handed, now I am not a left-handed writer, however, I can show you that you can form the motor plan to form letter C as a left-handed writer pulls in the pencil towards the palm of the hand and then pushes it out. So this is going to be a bit easier mechanically for the left-handed writer. So to practice this, again, you're going to just do a bunch of circles starting at that center point. Now I am not a lefty, so my letters look like I am a righty writing as a lefty. And that's okay for this example. You're going to make those curved circles. This is something maybe I need to work on. So again, pulling it into the hand, pushing it out, pulling the pencil into the hand, pushing it out. So you can see that pencil control is it's going to help the student as they learn to form this letter fluently and within writing other words or even writing their name. Okay, let's see here. Okay, now that you know the basic strokes to form letter C, it's a good idea to work on that with a bunch of different sensory activities. You can use that same craft pom-pom and just erase half of the letter C to form, to erase that circle. As my righty, I'm going to do it that way. As the lefty, I'm going to pull that craft pom-pom in around the curve of the circle. This really is great because you're focusing on the fine motor skills. Another multisensory strategy to work on that motor plan in many different activities is a worksheet like this one we have here. It's working on the letters, but it uses many different strategies to form and create the motor plan. This is so when students are writing the letters, it becomes natural, it's fluent. They have that established motor plan. Multisensory approaches to writing, like dotting with paint, we've shown that before in our videos, using a cotton swab. This really establishes the formation of the letter. It engages many different senses. You can use messy paint, you can use fingerprints to point along the dots of the letter C. You can trace with craft pom-poms, you can put stickers on there, you can put a wiki stick on there and bend it to form the letter C. You can trace it with beads or other different small objects, stickers, many different materials. These are all various sensory strategies, but it really helps to support the underlying skills needed for forming that letter. And so once you have practiced on paper, practiced on a dry erase board, you can try some of these activities and then go back to forming onto paper, onto lined paper, or onto, you know, just different handwriting activities. Maybe write it in shaving cream. You can form with, use Play-Doh and form the letter. This is such a good one because, like I said, that uppercase C is formed for many other activities. Now, my Play-Doh, you can tell I'm an OT because my Play-Doh is filled with little things, googly eyes and sparkles and stuff like that. So Maybe you use the Play-Doh, pull out all of your glitter and your sparkles, your googly eyes, and then use that Play-Doh to form the big curve of letter C and press it along there. Maybe you then push along the lines, pull out a few more googly eyes, things like that. So I hope these are giving you some great ideas for forming the motor plan, establishing the underlying skills for letters. Use what you've got on hand. This is like one of the biggest tips an OT can offer, is use what you've got and build those skills. So I just put this Play-Doh straight onto the worksheet. But if you laminate this worksheet, you can use it over and over again, or slide it into a page protector. Use it over and over again. I will include a link for this worksheet so that you can grab your own copy. It's a free download on the OT Toolbox. And we have it also inside of our membership. You can, if you're a member, log in and grab this along with all of the other letters from the alphabet. Or if you're not a member, grab it for free. It's on the website. I will put the link down below. The cool thing is that because this curve of C is used for other letters, you can group these packets, this worksheet together with the other similar letters. So say you cut out this section right here and staple it into a little booklet with the other letters that are in this letter family. This way you can really flip through the book. You can work on each letter in that little letter family and move from one letter into the next letter. Okay, before we move on to some specific tips for working on issues that might come up, I want to show you one more multisensory strategy. We are using, this is just plastic crafting form, like you would do cross stitching on here, maybe, I don't know what else. You could use this for a ton of different craft things. We've practiced lacing, I don't know. The reason that I have this is not for cross stitching, but I like to have a big sheet of this, and then I use some scissors, and my scissors are faulty right now. They're not opening. So luckily I've got another pair right here. I'm gonna put those to the side. I like to cut off a little square. Now, if you are a traveling therapist and you have a small area to work, maybe you just take, or maybe you go from school building to school building, maybe you just take one little square like this. Okay, then you can, let's see, I'm going to do this color square. Just because it says color, you could use any of these. I guess it's not a square, it's a rectangle. I'm gonna cut out this building letter C activity. Cut along those lines here. Okay. Now we have this nice little build the C prompt, and then we have this craft material underneath. So I want to encourage the student to hold the corner with their non-dominant hand. Pencils. This pencil is, this type of pencil, the Ticonderoga. This one is kind of a mouthful to say, but this is the best lead. You will find these pencils hold up to our students. They erase really nicely. They're a little bit more pricey than, say, like a pack of pencils from Target or from the dollar store. But they will last, and they're great. These are the favorite brands. Okay, so if you're working on C, we might have some trouble with the starting point. We talked about that already. We might have some trouble with the lines, keeping the pencil within the lines, keeping it in the top line and the bottom line. And we might have some trouble with that curve. So a lot of times what I see is sloppy. We see C's that like they float, they just lose that curve, right? And this is usually the student that is writing too quickly. They are just moving their pencil. Maybe they are not focused on just how that letter curves. So with some of these, say you see letters that are real quick and like that, you're going to step back and work on those circle strategies, getting the curve of the circle. You're going to work on the multisensory activities, okay? If you're seeing letters that float above the line, you can use some of your tried and true line awareness activities, like using a highlighted line to write the letter from between the lines. Start at the top, finish at the bottom, but keep it within the lines. If you're seeing letters that are like flipped a little bit like this, again, start and stopping points are really important with this letter, and they carry over to other letters. Okay, so say you have the student that forms letters. I'm going to make a sloppy letter that could lead to trouble with functional handwriting. And what I mean by that is it could lead to errors with spelling tests because the letter looks like something else. So say we have something like that. Okay, you kind of figure that that's a C, but the curve is just like, what do we got here, guys? What are we doing with this letter? You're going to use something circular, something round like a pony bead is a great idea. You could use something that is not open in the middle, like a coin, a dime or a penny would be good. But this curved form with the opening is really perfect. One thing that I love, and I actually don't have any with me today, is the paper reinforcement stickers, you know, for a notebook that has holes along the side. They kind of get torn a little bit, and then you put those stickers right on top. Those are really, really good for forming letter C. I wish I had some of those, but it's just not on hand right now, and that's okay. Like I said, we use what we've got, right? I do have a bunch of these pony beads, so I'm going to use this as my visual. Okay, so I'm going to say this, say to the student, do you see how this letter curves at the top, curves into a really nice circle? It's even the whole way around. You can draw a plus sign in there, and it's equal from all the sides. You have nice curved edge. What you are going to do is make a C that this pony bead can fit inside and follows the curve. Okay, we're not going to ask for perfection. Nobody can draw a perfect circle. You know, it's just not feasible. But we can go for accuracy. We can go for mostly curved, mostly correct. So I will tell my student, okay, on this line, let's draw a space for you. I would like you to draw a curved C that has a nice round side, and it looks like half of a circle. So the students can say, okay, I'm going to do that. And then after they do, we're going to test it with our pony bead. So the student might say, okay, I'm going to write my C. Now we can test it. Does that pony bead fit in there? Yes, it does. I can see that the curve goes around the curve, and it's nice and curved the whole way around. Is it perfect? No, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's good enough. So let's do a few more. I'll make my line longer. And can you do 3 more C's for me? Okay. And the student will say, okay, 1, 2, 3. Now we can test our curve with those 3 extra C's, and they look great. That's really nice. Now, because we are doing a letter that is exactly the same as the lowercase form, we can do the same strategy with our lowercase letter C's. Let's have a C that goes right into this area. I'm drawing half of the line space with the highlighter marker. So I'm going to ask my students, can you please make your letter C inside that highlighted line? You can see that it's half of the space. And they can say, okay, I'll try. Make your curve, do 3 letters, 1, 2, 3, and then we can test it with our pony bead that it curves nice and easily along the curve. Okay, so those are just some quick tips, some strategies for students that might be struggling with letter C, and it breaks down this process into smaller steps. We can work on that curve, we can work on the starting point, the ending point, keeping it in the given space in the writing area. And then we can use some of our sensory strategies to boost confidence and help them to really gain the skills they need for functional handwriting. Now, when you're teaching students, you'll know that every student, every learner that you're teaching is unique and different. So you'll want to tailor your approaches to meet their specific needs. You'll want to pull strategies from your toolbox that are interesting and meaningful to them. Maybe it's using Play-Doh that's filled with hidden surprises that they pull out while they're forming that letter. You know, it could be many different things, and that's one of the nice things about working with students as an OT, is that we really work on that meaningful and motivating strategies. So I hope that these activities are helpful in forming letter C. Be sure to grab your copy. It won't have Play-Doh on it, but you can use Play-Doh with it. And you can find that link below in the descriptions. And if you have any strategies that work for you, let us know. We would love to hear how you're working on letter C. And we'll see you next time in the next video. That's all for now. Bye.